back to NRP, guys. Today we're going to be installing Project Gamma carbon fiber front mount intakes on Maxxis Velvet Blue G80 M3. So in today's video, we're going to be covering exactly how to install these intakes. We want to give a huge shout out to Project Gamma for sending us these. These intakes are super cool because they're front mount. You don't see a lot of people rocking these on the G80s, and also the cones match the color of the car, which is what Max opted for. So with the purple cones, I think it's going to look sick. And we're also going to be installing these CSL carbon fiber front grills. So obviously this intake installation process involves removing the front bumper. We pretty much just showed you guys how to remove the front bumper on Eric's car when we installed his carbon fiber front grills. So we're not going to be covering too much of that part of the installation process in today's video. So if you guys do need to check that out, feel free to check out the link down below in the description, and I'll leave it for you guys to watch if you want to know how to take the front bumper out. We're still going to be showing you guys how to take the front bumper off, but nothing crazy intense like we did on the last video. So these are the carbon grills he's going to be installing, which honestly are a must do with these intakes, because if you get rid of the stock intakes, you'll be able to actually see them much better. And we're also going to be doing this carbon fiber shroud like we did on Eric's car as well. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments if you think this might be too much carbon or not. I think it's going to be just fine, especially once it's in the car. It looks very close together right now because it's on the table, but I think once we get it installed, it'll look a lot better. So to start the installation process off, obviously just take your wheels off so you have more space. The other day when Eric did his, he didn't want to take the wheels off. He just wanted to turn them because he liked to do it the quick way. Max is very in-depth with things. This is going to be our first installation video with him. You guys can see how he does things. So he decided to take the wheels off.
The right way.
So he decided to take the wheels off in order to get access to the fender liner to remove, what are those, 8mm or 10s?
On this car it's 10, on some I've seen them 8.
Correct.
But the main reason I'm doing this too is because the way the intakes are going to be routed, there's going to be an opening right here where I have to get the silicone through. So I was just trying to get all my access points.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's going to help, but we'll find out here in about 30 minutes. This could very well be a waste of time, but we'll find out.
So when you guys are removing that, just remember there is another 10mm here before you start pulling, or 8.
See this piece right here, this plastic piece? Mm-hmm. This is where I'm gonna have to route the piping for the new intakes to go to the front.
Okay.
So I didn't know if having this access is gonna make my life a little bit easier or not. I mean, like I said,
it's got to. It doesn't make sense if it wouldn't.
We'll find out here in a second.
I mean, even if it doesn't help you reach, at least you'll see things that you wouldn't be able to see with it there. All right, so as you guys saw before, like I mentioned, we're not gonna go too crazy in depth with how to remove the front bumper because we just did in the last video, but just remove that top piece right there, which is just a bunch of push clips. And then these are probably T30s. There's just a bunch of them up here. Remove those. Don't forget the two 10mm or 8mm that are right here. They might be different on your car depending on your model year. And then just get a buddy to help you remove the front bumper as well, and then that'll pretty much do it for removing it. Then once we get the front bumper removed, we'll start talking about taking the intakes out. Probably gonna have to remove this as well to give ourselves some more access, and it should be pretty straightforward from there. Since we are doing the carbon shroud as well, it'll probably make our lives even easier just removing this. If you're not doing this installation with the intake, it might make your installation process a little bit harder, or it might even be a case where you have to remove this for the intake. Max, do you think this has to be removed even if you're not doing the shroud? If you are doing this intake, so you don't have to remove this.
I mean, not really. I mean, if you look at the shroud only goes here, it cuts off right here, and right here. Everything you're going to be doing is going to be following underneath the hood latches.
Oh, okay.
Because you can see the intake piping.
Well, maybe it'll help with visibility then.
Might, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll find out.
So Max is saying we don't have to remove this, so when you guys are doing this installation process, remember, we're going to be doing this, but you don't have to, so don't get freaked out if you see us doing that. It's just something we have to do since we're going to be doing the carbon shroud for Max as well. But like I said, once you knock out these T30s on the top, you get all the fender liners out, that'll pretty much free it up. And then the 10mm or the 8mm bracket right here, all that's left is the screws from underneath as well. Once you get those, just get a second person to help you take the front bumper off. To remove the brace, you got to remove this one 13mm and then the 4 15mm bolts, and then you should be able to remove it.
So the next step is take off the engine cover at least. You want to just pop it off, because what you want to do, let me just unclip this right here, this sensor, and just kind of move it out of your way. That way you have some more space right here, because I don't know how the carbon fiber is going to fit right here, so I don't want to be fighting against that sensor and scratching it up. So I'm going to start by removing this intake first, just that way I have a little bit more room to work the pry bar or a screwdriver down there to get those clips popped out.
So you guys have seen us do this a couple of times before. This is the basically the inlet clip that is just very annoying to take off, but we've shown you guys a trick of how to do it. Just got to make sure it's disconnected on all 3 sides of it, and then it should allow you to take it out. Good pry tool or pick tool like that should help. So once you get the 2, the last one's always annoying.
Make sure you don't lose that down there and you're good to go.
And then it's a matter of doing that once again for the other intake piping, removing these 2 push-up clips, and then basically removing the old air box, and then that should open up some space, and then we'll start with the installation of the Project Gammas.
Yeah, just so you guys understand it better, there's 4 locking points, and essentially all you're trying to do is push them up like that so that it flexes it out and you can remove it. So like that, You just want to pull it out.
You're so good at those clips. Everybody else struggles with them. Look at you go.
I was the OG here working on G80s.
Look at all that room for activities. Sheesh. I think I can see Max's face from here. Do you think there's anything else we need to remove?
Yeah, these ducts.
Oh, okay.
Reach in here and grab these suckers out. I'm not gonna need those again.
Do you have to do any cutting? Is there anything like
yeah,
that
so look
involved?
right here. In this corner right here, I'm just gonna have to figure out where to trim right in this area. Intake is gonna sit right here. So with your Project Gamma box, you'll get two different little couplers, right? One's smaller, one's bigger. I don't know if you can see it on camera. But the smaller one obviously is gonna go straight on the turbo side right here. If it's, I mean, it's snug, so you gotta kind of push it on there. Obviously I'll have a clamp on there here in a minute, I'm just test fitting. And then the bigger one is gonna go on this plastic intake. Obviously it's wider, so it also is a tight fit, but the starting point is gonna be getting that. And then the carbon is gonna slide into that. So I haven't figured out yet if it's gonna be easier to put these on the carbon and then slide them on here, or slide this on here and then silicone these up a little bit and slide the carbon on that. But at least that's where they go.
All right guys, so just before I say anything else, we are kind of like experimenting and seeing, because there's no installation video on this process at the moment while we are filming this. So what seems to be the consensus at the moment is the fact that the Project Gamma logo on these silicone hoses being faced up is what works right, so you can differentiate which side is what. So with the logo up this way, this seems to be the passenger side because it needs to curve in this way. So if you move it over, if you still have your shroud connected or still installed, it's gonna be hard to see, but it's gonna come down this way and turn in, and that's what will make our cut for the cone, and same goes for that side. We decided that this has to be the way, because some of us are saying that it might be like this way. What if it's that way? What if one's longer? What if one's shorter? They're both equal length, and it's just a matter of the logo being faced up, and then a matter of just guiding it through here into this area, and then making the cutouts for the cone. So the first thing we're gonna do now is just put these silicone hoses on the inlets and start trying to maneuver and MacGyver these in where they're supposed to go. It's gonna take a lot of trial and error and patience. So good luck, Max, because it's a tight area. It's gonna be hard to see.
It's gonna be annoying.
We've also decided the best case of action right now for this installation process is piecing everything together versus doing it all outside of the car and then putting it in, because we feel that if we do it where we're piecing it all together, we can get the exact fitment we want and get it positioned exactly where we feel is right, versus doing it all out of the car and then having to fight it and it just not working out. So we would recommend doing it this way, where you just do it piece by piece. Put the silicone hoses on the inlets, then grab the carbon fiber and put it on, tighten the clamps, loosen them, mess with it, move about with them, and then that'll help you achieve the exact fitment you want. And then once Max is done with that, we're gonna go ahead and try to show you guys to the best of our ability, because it is a tight area, of him shoving these silicone hoses in and trying to get them positioned right, and then figuring out exactly where we're gonna cut right here, and then basically being done with the installation process. I would say that this installation process, out of all the other intakes that are on the market, I'd even say even more than the Venturi carbon intakes, this is definitely more involved, and it's definitely a little bit harder. But the gain is that they're front mount, they're probably gonna sound a lot cooler and a lot louder because they are in front of the engine. They're gonna look a lot cooler as well. So one thing we were a little bit confused about, we wanted to confirm that the silicone hose does not go over the rigid part where the stock clip would go. That comes on the stock piping. So with this, we decided instead of putting it over where the clamp was just like super tight on the loosest setting, we put it a little bit more out, so then it could actually rest on the flattest part of the inlet piping, and then it can have a nice flat surface for the clamp to tighten to, and now it's perfect. It's exactly how it should be. So if you do run into that confusion, that's pretty much how you want it to sit for visual purposes. Check it out, that's how it should look.
All right, so I got this like hot blade basically. I kind of just makeshifted it, and what we're doing is we're just cutting that hole, and I'm just starting with like a preliminary hole, a smaller one, so that I don't gouge it out. But long story short is we'll heat up here in a second, and then that thing will just cut. Just be cognizant of what's on the other side.
Kind of smells like birthday candles.
I mean, that's the first cut, so.
What would you say? You want to go bigger than that?
Probably.
It was like a preliminary one.
Yeah, I'll get the final measurements here in a second.
But check that out, guys. Look how much more space he basically opened up for himself. You gonna actually cut here too?
I might have to.
Because you guys have to look at the silicone size right here. I mean, it's pretty big, so he's gonna have to cut quite a big hole in the plastic so it actually fits through. Just give Max a bit, let him mess about with it. Once he actually figures out exactly how he feels about it, we'll probably be able to explain it a lot better than we are right now versus doing it on the fly. So give us a bit and we'll give you guys a quick update. And then when we do the driver's side, it'll be a lot easier to explain. All right guys, so after a little bit of test fitting and cutting, check it out. This is the cut that Max decided to go with so far.
You basically have to follow, there's a little plastic guide right here.
Yeah.
And I just cut against it because I can't, once this is sitting back, I can't do anything else. And the top is, I mean, it's flat, but I mean, it's a pretty sizable hole that you're gonna have to cut in here. Obviously, you know, be careful of these wires right here. You don't wanna hit those wires on accident when you're cutting. I started with that hot blade, but I ended up using a little handheld Sawzall and it worked just 10 times better. And now we just need to put the piping in and see if we can get that filter in and how that fits. All right, so there's a little trick. Just use a little bit of silicone spray. Just kind of get it just a, you know, light coating. And when you're going in with it, just kind of be careful so you don't hit that coolant line. But you want to stick your hand in here and guide it and make sure that it's up, like the 90 degree is facing upwards like that, and then rotate it. And once you rotate it, you can just slide it right in like that. And it's, I mean, it's pretty painless.
Again, like I did mention, if you still have your shroud, it's a little bit harder to see what you're doing, but this is essentially how it's gonna look if you wanna use the video as reference. And while Max was explaining, I tried my best to show you guys, but he's kind of in the way, so it's really hard to show you. It's not the easiest thing, but hopefully this helps.
You know what I just thought about, Shumili?
What?
If I put this side on, and I put this here, and I put this here, I'm gonna have a really tough time clamping this.
Why?
Because
You can rotate it this way.
yeah, but the pipe's gonna sit right here.
So you're saying to do that side first?
Yeah.
We realized doing the passenger side is gonna be
Hard.
inefficient, because if we have the passenger side hooked up, the driver, or not the driver side, but the other intake piping will just be,
you're not gonna be able to clamp this on.
essentially.
This is gonna be blocking these clamps, and the carbon's gonna be blocking the clamps from on top. So
There's gonna be no way to tighten it. So then,
right, so do this side first before you do this.
all right guys, after tons of take it out, put it back together, take it out, put it back together, and just a bunch of trial and error, this driver side was definitely harder than the passenger side, just because the way the carbon fits into the silicone hose, it's just a little off. It's not the best, and it just takes more time and just effort.
Finesse.
So it definitely takes finesse, yes, for sure. So what Max is doing right now is tightening up the other side, but this side's essentially done. If we do make any more adjustments, we will update you guys. But once this side is completely done, we'll start with the other side, and then we should be able to get you guys some sound clips.
Kind of hard to get this on video. Slide her in.
Oh yeah.
Gotta push it a little bit.
Wow. All right, so we got the other side pretty much tightened down and clamped up. Just to furthermore prove Max's point, which he was mentioning earlier, look at how hard it would be right now to do that clamp. If everything was in, it would just be pretty much impossible. We probably could have made it work, but again, once we put the shroud back, it just would be bad. And if you guys don't remove the shroud, it's absolutely impossible. So make sure you do this one first, and then go ahead and do this one last. But yeah, all that's left is Max is gonna tighten up the intake cones right here. Man, they look sweet. And we'll put everything back together. All right guys, we're gonna do a quick startup. We got the clamps tightened up for the intake cones, so now we're gonna get a good chance to hear it. That's pretty impressive. It's not So the intakes are actually significantly louder, and that's the car not being moving or anything like that. These intakes normally are pretty quiet, whether it be the Venturis or any intake on the market right now. It's just when the car is idle or standstill and it's not being driven, they're just not loud. And right now at standstill, they are significantly louder. I don't know if the microphone's gonna pick it up, but it is significantly louder. So we're gonna get some drive-by clips for you guys once everything is put back together. But now it's just a matter of putting that carbon shroud back on, and then once he puts the engine cover and the brace and everything back up put together, we'll get some drive-by clips for you guys, because I think you guys will get to really hear the sound regardless of what kind of mic it is. I think the mic will be able to pick it up with it actually being driven, because with the engine sound and everything, I think kind of drones it out. With the car driving and running, it's significantly louder. So like I said, with the intakes with this hole now, you'll be able to actually see them, so it's gonna look really good. Oh snap. Sheesh, it already looks sick. Damn, that cone clearance. All right guys, check it out. This is all of it put back together. Check out how, let me know what you guys think of how the carbon shroud looks with the intakes. think it looks sick. Check out the kidney grills, or grills. I keep calling them kidney grills for some reason. With the ducts too, I think it looks sick. Once the car's backed out up here and we have more lighting, I'll be able to show you guys a little bit better and then get you guys some sound clips. But yeah, overall it looks sick. Oh, that is so freaking loud. All right, here he comes. All right guys, so as you just heard, these intakes are significantly louder than stock. These are probably the loudest. We've installed tons of intakes here at NRP, and these are definitely the loudest intakes I've ever heard so far that we've driven. Anytime we take a car up and down the street, you can hear it, but it's just like always, you know, muffled because of, you know, the hood, or it's just, you know, all the way behind. But now that it's front mounted, you just hear them so much louder, and it sounds absolutely insane. So aside from the intake installation, as you guys saw, we also knocked out the carbon grills as well. So as you can see, they just look so great. You can actually see the intake as well. But that pretty much concludes today's video, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. The installation process was a little tricky. I guess the most annoying part of it was definitely the cutting aspect and just getting everything to fit right. But with patience and just trial and error, it just works out just fine. If you guys are interested in more videos like this, let us know down below in the comments. If you guys have any more questions, just let us know down below. I'll be sure to get back to you all. But anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one.